Welcome back to meeting number 6. Real quick, let's go over what we're doing tonight.
Team control.
When you get on this thing, before lava and when you get in, this blue.
Alright, tonight's agenda, real quick. A few housekeeping items, dues, communication, goal setting. Before we get into that, we're going to do a weekly recognition of for our official of the week. We're going to jump into some of our discussion that we started last week about some of our Las Cruces Public Schools junior high coverage ideas. Then we're going to go over what an open look is and how we're going to try to change the vocabulary and what we perceive as an open look. We have a short reactionary versus educated refereeing presentation. Reactionary versus educated refereeing presentation, followed by we're going to ask volunteers for a presentation next week. Address any questions, concerns, and I think if we have time, we got a play we're going to go over, or a discussion on a play we had this weekend that we're going to go over, and then we're going to be out here about 7 o'clock.
I want to go over 2 plays.
Okay? All right. So, Southwest official of the week this week is Kylie Pruitt, and I had the opportunity to watch Kylie this weekend work a JV game, or this weekend a JV game over at Las Cruces. Just to give you an idea what kind of game it was a jump game. It was 25 plus points. It was a game where we have to manage. I got to watch 2.5 quarters of her, and I can tell you from the 2.5 quarters I watched, there was no drop off, there was no anything. Everything that she did at the table was crisp. Communication with the coaches was outstanding. Communication with her partner was outstanding. And I haven't had the opportunity to watch this young lady work in about a year. So to come in and see a year's worth of growth and a year's worth of, I put up there, she's a great example of MMV paying off. And who here can tell me what MMV is? Mirror, model, video. Okay, getting in the mirror, modeling what we need to be doing, seeing how we look, see what our mechanics looks like. Taking advantage of video opportunity. She works hard in the off season. She goes to camps off season when she can. Okay, she stays for varsity games. She asks questions that are pertinent to what's going on during the games at halftime, and she comes back in after the game to ask questions. Steady improvement every night, and I say that because I just got done telling you guys I haven't seen her watch her work in like about a year. But you don't make that kind of progress if there's not steady improvement, steady focus every night. So, in my opinion, I even told our varsity assigner after I got done watching her, called her, I said, hey, you need to get on the road with this girl, you need to take a look at her. I think that she's one of our state's next great female officials. And the funny thing about this is I put this up there now, and I finished putting this together this morning, and Kylie, I wish I would have rewarded this and just said one of our state's next great officials, because Kylie was kind enough to call me later on in the afternoon, and she says, hey, I'm doing a presentation on gender equality. Would you mind answering some questions for me? And I was like, oh, man, she's going to be one of our great New Mexico officials up and coming. She works hard and she looks the part. Her uniform is tailored. She's popping her steps. She's got spring on her steps to the table. She does a lot of the small things right. And for those of you who don't know Kylie Pruitt, her nickname is Bug, which is why I put a black and white referee bug up there on our slide today. So why don't you get Kylie to stand up real quick, get our group recognized for her hard work. And what I love about her is Kylie balances school. She helps her dad out in Capitan, New Mexico. She wears a lot of hats. And then on top of that, she finds ways to get better as an official. So hats off to you, Kylie Pruitt. Thank you very much for working hard and taking care of business. Last week, we got into a little bit about a little brainstorm on how we talked about how, one, we're spoiled to death up here in Las Cruces. We get to work 3-man and JV here locally every night. So our training is, for our young officials, is far ahead of the game as far as where it's at with our with some of our other regions that we have, because they just don't have the luxury of working 3-man at the JV level for the trade. Some of the things we talked about, Rob got up and talked a little bit about the importance of us working hard to get some on-the-floor training, actually on the basketball court, where we're taking looks at what we want as within that 3-man model. Talked about consistency. I think Coop brought up consistency, how if we're going to do this, it's got to be the same across the board. Can't be having 3-man crew on a Tuesday night and then Saturday night not have a 2-man crew. It's got to be consistent in order for it to work. You also talk about the potential of covering just the district season, and options for varsity cover would be, obviously the same thing that we have right now, which is the split method, where we have 2 of the 3 working a half and the other, and then we have 1 person work the whole game. So a few things that we touched on last week, and I just kind of want to open the floor a little bit. The goal here, for me, is I would like it to be able to come to some kind of solution or something to potentially go to our administration here and say, hey, this is something we've talked about, this is something that we'd like to present, and see if we can do it moving forward. Because the last thing I want to see us lose as a group is that momentum that we've worked really, really hard to gain as far as growth and development for our new officials coming in. So, Tony, anybody?
So Eli's not here right now, he's working some games in Hatch, but he did have a question for you, Candace. If we did, he was wondering if games would still be assigned 3-man if we split them, or if that would be, like, if 3 officials would still be assigned to the.
If they were just assigned 2 and you pick up the 3rd.
Right. Or would it be 3 on arbiter?
Well, we don't have an answer to that. That's the reason why we started the conversation last week, and we're reopening today, because we wanted to try to come up with some solutions for this, some ideas that.
So, and going back to that, because it's always originally been a varsity official has to be that 3rd person. So that's why it's always been the 3rd person is from the varsity crew. Whether it's 1 person doing the whole JV game or it's 2 people splitting it with the below varsity, so that they get that experience of working with that varsity official.
You're saying picking up any 3rd person.
Right.
Yeah, it would have to be. That's the training piece that goes with it. Is the fact that we've been lucky enough to be able to assign one of the varsity officials down who ideally speaking would be going in there and assisting with the game, communicating with things for everything from pre-game until post game, and providing some training on the floor. Obviously, that's the piece that we want to continue. Bare minimum, we want to continue to try to find a way to keep.
Well, speaking for myself, I know, having that 3-man experience prior to getting varsity games has helped me more, because now I don't have to balance trying to figure out when to rotate and the pressure of the varsity game with the pressure of varsity coaches and everything that comes with that. So I do think that the training is something that you can't really quantify.
Right. No, and I agree with that. And this is a guy that's coming from Arizona who's watched his dad officiate in Arizona for probably since he's been itty bitty with 0 3-man in high school. Just to give you an idea of how far ahead we are of just some of our neighboring states. Tony, what is your thought process on this?
Well, and I've visited with several officials about this. I've had several road trips where I visited with some officials, had some phone conversations, and I'm sure a lot of people probably already know my philosophy on it. I was the group leader for 12 years for this group from like 99 to 2011, and about halfway through that time is when we started that. Jay was the commissioner when this all got started. How long ago was that, Jay? Probably about 15, 16 years.
I think you're right on the numbers. That sounds right.
Yeah. So it's been quite a while that we've been doing this, but there's no doubt. If you compare camps, summer camps, to small trainings we've had here and there, to this being the last piece, learning 3-man, working JV in town, 2 varsity officials, each 2.5. That's the best training tool by far. in front of a real crowd that we've ever had. And I would hate to lose that.
I hate to lose it too, and since I'm just gonna be honest with you, since in my eyes, this is a conversation that's kind of stalling. I'm just gonna be honest and say from my standpoint, from where I'm at, I think at bare minimum, we should find a way to come up with some kind of request, a conversation to be had with our administration here, to find some way to make it happen through the district season. For a variety of reasons. One, moving forward, it gives us the opportunity to implement some in another gym type setting like Rob's talking about, where we're getting these young officials out and on the floor and giving them some on the floor training prior to the district season starting. Two, it provides a consistency, like we talked about, with what you said, you know, we don't do it until district, and when district starts, this is our training program that leads into our district season. And three, you know, and these are in no particular order, three, it continues, you know, from my standpoint, it's not just a piece that we've had here, but it's kind of a tradition that we have here in Las Cruces and with our Southwest officials, that, you know, we find a way to bring young officials up and continue with our training and kind of be ahead of the game for the rest of the state. I definitely don't want to lose that feather that we have in our hat. And I think that's something that our administration, our coaches, and our officials can all agree on, is that, you know what, our JV athletes have it really, really good down here in Las Cruces. If we can have it really, really good when it counts the most, come district time, when in this community that's when it matters the most, then we can put out our best product on at least a night-by-night district basis. So unless anybody else has something to add or is willing to, a piece that they have to this, I mean, I think at bare minimum, that's what we as a group should be starting.
That's the best way to market it to the administration.
Well,
And so are you saying pay for the?
Absolutely, we don't work for free.
Right.
Like,
And
yeah.
that's my only concern, is that I don't think they did a good job in not looking at the numbers, knowing we were getting an increase over the year. When we did it for what?
10
However many
years.
years, 5-10 years for free?
10 years.
10 years for free, so I think they should have done a better job on their behalf to have looked at those numbers and either figured out a way a long time ago or told us a long time ago. We could have figured out something
If they could have
instead
told
of
us
being in
this
the
summer,
season.
maybe we could have figured it out.
Well, and I think at the end of the day, I think that the NMA and us locally did a decent enough job of letting them know what was coming down the pike on our end. As far as these pay raises go, I mean, we knew about it, I think, early last season, that we were going to be getting them this year. And at least try to come up with a way to find a happy medium between both parties, because I really believe that the fact that we get to train our three man at the JV level is really, really instrumental in us being, you know, the size of group that we are now. We have the success that we have year in and year out, you know, as far as those things go. Yes, sir, Mr. Southside.
So do we know, unequivocally know that that they are not going to provide any kind of money towards the third person? I mean, do we know that's a definite no?
That's what we've been told, yes, that's what we've been told. But my thing is not so much for this to take place starting district this season, but more so that we have a plan in place moving forward going into next season, so that be honest with you, so our retention stays what it is, so that the kids, the young people that we have coming in know that, you know what, this is a one-year thing. We have some training going into the summer. We have some training leading into the beginning of the season, and then we're gonna have an opportunity to work some three-man for districts. I think that's a much better. I guess what I was trying to say is I'm just trying to keep the ball rolling, and I don't want it to stall.
Well, you know, and I mean, that's certainly a compromise, you know, to go back to them and say, hey, we can do this during district time this year. I mean, that might be something that they might take a second look at, because I don't think Tony had a lot of discussion with them when that conversation was done. So that might be something we could take a look at. The other thing is, you know, I like Robert's idea. I mean, it's not the game experience type situation that you have, but it's a better situation than what we're going to have. third deal is, you've got a lot of veteran officials that have done this for a long, long time, that have done it for free over a period of 10 years. And I think the only fair thing to do would be, I mean, as a group, the veteran officials really is where it becomes the question, yea or nay. Roll and say, do you want to work for free that you did for the last 10 years? You know, that's even an answer, because certainly we have to have answers to the equation before we can even make some kind of commitment to anyone.
And here's my thing, Lisa, and please don't take this in the wrong concept, but I can't even get a veteran official to volunteer to put it in their power plan.
Well,
How am I going to get a veteran official to
Well,
volunteer?
basically, I think you bring it to the meeting, you bring it as an agenda item, and you say, show up, when everybody count your vote as a yes.
Right, no, and I'm with that, I'm just trying to be transparent, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
understand.
I get that, but you know what, on my side, I'm not a veteran official. And you know what, I know the time and energy that we all put into this, and I know it takes time away from our families and from our jobs and everything else, and you know what, I don't think that it's a situation where we should have to say that we're gonna do it for free, even though we did it for free for 10 years. And that's just my
You said that we
stance.
shouldn't have that?
I don't think that we shouldn't, I don't even think that should be in the conversation for us to do it for free. I mean, I'm not saying that it's for the good of our hearts, like, no, I appreciate it. But you know what, I mean, we have jobs, we have kids at home, we have kids that go to practice, we have some of us that are students, we have some of us that are getting master's degree, we have, you know,
But has the conversation come back up with the administrator for the less money? Because if you got two varsity officials coming in, you don't have to split 50. Split the old 38 or split 30, whatever it is, you know, one on each half. There's less money, but you still getting paid.
yeah, I understand that, and I get that, but I think
it's
that,
even the course of the I don't think Walt's saying it's about the
no,
money.
it's,
It's not about the money. I'm sure that none of us really some people may officiate for the money, but others do it because they actually like it. But you're also spending a significant amount of time away from home additionally on top of that. And then they're not going to advocate for us to ever get us that full amount again.
my whole thing is this. This is our thing, my thing. And I've been on both sides. I'm on the bench at Las Cruces, or I'm on the bench at Mayfield, and I'm playing one or the other on a Friday night or a Saturday night. I'm telling you right now, as the coach, I want my best for the best. That's what I'm saying. And my point is, I think it's not out. I don't think we're stepping out of bounds, no pun intended, to say, you know what? My value to come here and give you my best is worth that $50 check that I'm gonna go get right now to make this three-man game happen and give you the best product that we have. Because it's gonna be the best product we have, because we're the Southwest group, and you know what? Our three-man game is better than anybody else in the state of New Mexico. I mean, I'm not saying that because I'm the group leader or anything else. I mean, it's just, we've been around enough to know, we've seen enough JV games walking in gyms around the state to not know that, you know what, our JV product in three-man is better than what we walk into in any other place around Las Cruces.
So,
Just the God's honest truth.
so going back, are we interested in asking the administration to say during district play for Cruces games, talking about, you know, all the
In the city.
JV, would you pay for 3 officials, guaranteeing one of those officials is a regularly scheduled varsity 3-man official?
Yes. So they would go in and they'd make the same JV rate as,
And everybody would make 50, but it would be just during that time. It means less training for the officials.
sure.
It would mean Candace would have to make sure that she's making those decisions about those who need or showing those experiences that are ready to start having some three-man mechanics are going to be placed in those more competitive local games. And we'd like to have that earlier, but you know, that's kind of we know they're not going to finance the rest of the year. Minus all the other minuses. So the question is, are they interested in getting less political heat, by having an extra official on the JV game?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
And I think that, then you don't have to worry about equity about $50 versus $100 split by 3 or free or other stuff.
It's just,
And you get some training. I know you don't get it all.
but it's better than none, and it's better than anybody else's getting.
So is the idea to have a veteran official on this three-man crew?
Well, and realistically speaking, it would be just like it is, the setup would not change. This is the 3-man crew, we would assign 5 to the JV and 2 would take a half, basically. No different. I mean, really, we're just working to make sure that we're able to find a way to get that JV covered with 3-man to continue our training. I mean, not reinvent the wheel, just allow them to keep the wheel to keep moving through districts.
Well, you know, I mean, I think that maybe what we ought to do tonight then is maybe ask for a list of people, that volunteers, a group of 3 or 4 or 5, get together for a meeting and discuss what we need to do, bring it before the group next week, and then meet with the public school district. I mean, that's the only way we're gonna get any resolution out of it.
Right.
I think, and we need to identify, from a cost standpoint, we need to identify from a standpoint of what we're talking about as far as the values type situation that we're providing versus the non-value. And, I mean, all we can do is throw it out there and see what they say. Otherwise, we're gonna sit here and talk about this for the next 2 months, right?
Well, it's kind of what you alluded to last.
I think realistically, that if we present something of that nature and be realistic, when we give and take, they've got to give and take as well.
And that's exactly what.
If you look at it, they don't pay mileage to any of the officials that come out in front of the city.
No.
They don't want to pay the third official, so, I mean, there's got to be a stopping point as well for them to understand that this stuff doesn't get covered for free, right? And, certainly, I think you can make some good points. I think you can make an impact to Ernest and to his staff, and then they can take it up the hierarchy and see where it stands.
Well, then let's,
And then, and then second of all, I think that in the interim, I think that Robert's idea that he presented last week about meeting on the court, certainly it's not game experience, but it's better than nothing, right? And I think if you see it visually rather than see it up on a board, I mean, it's not gonna help like a game situation, but it's gonna help to some degree. So.
right, I agree.
Let's also recognize that January 7th, district starts.
Right.
So there's,
Not a lot of time.
No, I'll be honest with you, I think it's pretty highly unlikely that it's gonna happen this year. I mean, I do. I mean, I'd like to present it before district starts, Rob, like, absolutely. But I don't anticipate them jumping on it saying, all right, we're gonna do it this year. That's just what little bit of information I've gotten. Doesn't sound like there's a whole lot of wiggle room immediately.
How many teams, so 4 teams?
4 schools, 8
Four
teams.
cities.
for a district, it's gonna cost $1,200.
For the
A
district.
district.
For the district
So that's
season.
Alamogordo and Gadsden,
Just for the district season.
just for the district season,
1,200.
$1,200.
But we're not talking, I'm just talking about only the Cruces teams against each other.
And we don't do Gadsden either.
Yeah, but okay, Gadsden's playing Cruces, so we're not gonna cover
We're not
that.
gonna cover that one.
I think that's not being consistent enough. I think if we, initially, I don't know who the chair is of the district. If it's Ernie, we propose that to the district as district-wide, so that it shows that there's some commitment from Gadsden, there's some commitment from Alamogordo, and this year there's some commitment from Deming.
That's fine. But if they say no,
If they say no, I guess proposal number 2 would be in-town,
If you come to the city, you get.
in-game contest, and I wouldn't take away, I don't think we should take away if an outside city team comes into town, we don't do it. I don't think that's,
I get that, but where are they gonna get the biggest heat? It's when the 2 teams from Las Cruces are playing each other.
Sure.
But it's also not fair that they're the only ones who are getting it.
Yeah,
The ones that pay for it, Gadsden quit doing it a couple of years ago, guys. We used to go down to Gadsden and do 3-man. But they're the ones that told us no.
just to be clear, when I brought it up, my thought process on it was when district rolls around, boys and girls, if you play a game in Cruces, regardless of whether you're from Deming coming down to play in the district, or if Santa Teresa was in the district. Santa Teresa was in the district coming down. If you're playing here in the city, you're gonna get a 3-man officiated game. I don't know how feasible that is, I don't know if that's possible, I don't know how that works with equity, but that was kind of my thought process.
But, you know what, that gave us, Hobbs came in, Carlsbad comes in, these eastern part comes in, they bring their JV, they see what we're doing, and I guarantee you, and I've heard it from the coaches, that they appreciate what we're doing, because they don't get it down there.
Have the coaches said anything about this? Have we even tried to talk to the coaches?
No, we haven't.
Especially the JV coaches?
So remember,
Could we
all
get
that's
maybe
happened-
their supports?
Well, all that's happened was, remember, like 3 weeks ago, Ernie gave me a call.
No, I'm talking in the past.
Right. Yeah,
Not now what's happened. I'm talking in the past with those schools and other schools that have come in, and we've, whether it's been Albuquerque schools, whether it's been the eastern schools, and we've done 3-man on their JV. They were wowed and said, we really like this.
So I understand that. I just wanted to make a couple comments about the decision making that I went through this. 3 weeks ago, Ernie called me. And when he started the conversation, I could tell when he told me, he says, Tony, with these new rates, I don't think we're gonna be able to afford the 3rd person on the JV games anymore. And I could tell by the way he said it, he says, now I'm gonna look into it, but I could tell, even though he told me that was gonna be a no. Never in that conversation did he even hint or ask me, what do you think? Or can we come up to a compromise? He never said anything like that. So to me, I could tell from that very first, that one conversation I had with him, we were gonna lose it. So I didn't ask him back. Even at that point, I didn't ask him, Ernie, can we have a meeting? Can we come to a compromise? I didn't even do any of that. I just, all right, Ernie, you let me know what you want to do. He says, I'll let you know tomorrow. It actually took 2 days, and in 2 days he sent me a text and just told me in the text that we couldn't afford it and we weren't going to go with it. And that's it. Not anything else. So my thought process was, I don't want this to be my decision. This needs to be our local group's decision. So that's when I mentioned to Walt what happened. I said, let's have a meeting or two, let's have some discussion, let's decide what to do. And my thought process was, we've had a couple days to talk about it. And I mean, my personal feeling, I think what we ought to do is take the supervisory committee and myself, and I will call up Ernie and see if we can set up a meeting with him and his administration. I'll visit with him real quick, see if, is this something we want to bring in the athletic coordinators in on? Does he want to bring the coaches in on it? What would you like to do? Do you not want a meeting? Do you want to leave it like it is? And just try to feel that out, because I think we ought to have a meeting and maybe just try to convince them. And maybe we don't get it this year.
Early.
But it probably needs to happen next week, though.
Yeah.
Huh?
It really needs to happen next week.
Yeah.
So let's just go through the supervisory board committee, that's gonna be the fastest way to get everybody together. So,
Since that's what the board is kind of.
Yeah, so-
Okay, so I'll call him up after this meeting and see if he answers, and I'll see if I can't set something up with him. And I'll email Walt on the supervisory committee if that gets set. We'll try to do that.
all right, we're gonna move on. So, we're gonna talk a little bit about tonight about an open look. So when we talk about open look, talking about with our hands, kind of, we want to be looking through plays, right? So if I've got Rob and Tony, come up here real quick. If I'm guarding Rob, and Tony is the official here, we're looking at an open look. Rob's got the ball. Tony wants to be in a position, we've talked about this open look, we've got to look through the defense, so to speak, right? But realistically, we really don't have a book definition of what an open look is. So we're going to talk a little about what is, Tony, when you expect an open look, what is like the first thing that you tell your new officials with an open look? What do you want to be able to do with the play?
You want to be able to see through players, be able to see exactly what the defense is doing.
Okay, we want to be able to see through players, we want to see exactly what the defense is doing. What does it look like? Well, we just kind of modeled what it looked like, right? And when we're looking through the defense, we never want to be what we call a stack look, where we're trying to see this hand over the top of this hand. Okay, we always want this look, all right? What are we looking at in an open look? Offense or defense? Defense, okay? Okay, so what's our responsibility for the offensive player when we have an open look? Anything? Okay, so that's kind of what we want to talk about a little bit today. So again, I told you guys last week when we had our coach's presentation that I stole something. Well, this summer I got a great definition of an open look. And in conversation with another official, goes, man, I heard the same thing, and we're actually getting ready to start pumping this open look new terminology through the state. And this is from Marla Denham, she's the Big Sky coordinator. And she says, an open look is where you as an official, as an on-the-ball official, can see the two hands of the defender, jersey number or the torso of the defender, and the pivot foot of the offensive player. And I'm glad that I asked, what are we looking at for the offensive player? Because when I looked around the room, some of you guys are like, you see the wheels turn. When in all actuality, we should be refereeing from the floor up while we're officiating, correct? Especially when the ball's coming into our primary area. So we're refereeing from the floor up. And when we're refereeing from the floor up, what are we picking up? Feet. Okay, so our open look, yeah, we want to be seeing through the player. We want us to be seeing hands, point of contact stuff, but we also want to be seeing on that offensive player, we want to be picking up that pivot foot. So this, okay, an open look, when we ask what is an open look, we won't find it in our book. Okay, we're not going to find it in our casebook. An open look is this. But for our state, for us locally, this is the direction that we're going. So us in Las Cruces, let's start picking those things up. So, Rob and Tony, again, I'm guarding, let's see here, Rob's going to be on the side of this. Rob's got the ball, okay, I'm on defense. Tony, all right, is going to be picking up, being in a position where he can see hands, 2 points hand of contact, my torso, my numbers on my jersey, as well as a pivot foot here. So we talk about in games, hey, don't get yourself stacked, look for open looks. Right now is a great time, right now is a great time for us to start applying some of this new little itty bitty nuances, especially like even for some of our veteran guys that have been doing it forever. Right now, just because of the fact that, you know, right now, we have a lot of stuff coming up. We have tournaments where we're going to have sometimes 2 games a day. We're going to have evaluators in and out of our locker room. So we're going to have conversations with those evaluations. Now's a great time for us to start applying these little itty bitty things when we know we're going to get some reps. So let's work real hard at applying this new definition we talked about, our open look. Okay, 2 hands of contact, torso and pivot foot. Okay, because I know for me, the pivot foot is not a part of what I normally am looking at on a regular basis. I mean, all right, so we're going to get a little bit to a short presentation here on as far as reactionary versus educated officiating. The goal of this presentation is to provide tools and conversations to help us prevent from having plays or situation surprises during basketball contests, also to provide strategies for staying engaged throughout games. We're going to show a little clip here real quick. Maybe, let's see here. Hold on. My text still stuck. Give me 1 second. All right, we're going to just show this just once. So, I'll make it bigger real quick. Come on, video player. All right. So just once.
Who's that guy?
Just once. he's hot.
He's huge.
Oh, all right. Wait for it. Oh, okay. So we're gonna watch that once and that's it. All right. So. Stud, right? Class, act, awesome, way beyond stuff. Walt Sanchez. All right. Open look. Ta-da. Ta-da. Watch that. All right. Reactionary characteristics. All right. That negatively impact our games. Okay. Number one, I think this is first and foremost. This is not sharing information. When we don't share information, we're setting ourselves up for train wrecks. Okay. Poor play and call catalog efforts. Carefree attitude. Lethargic attitudes. Meh. Pre-game attitudes. All right. Prophesizing outcomes of the game. Okay, so we've been in those locker rooms like, oh, this should be a 40-point. We'll be running clock by third quarter, right? Prophesizing what's going to happen, not being focused, not being unmotivated, and not goal-oriented. Okay, I mean, and these are all, we talked last week about building good pre-games and things like that. These are all, to me, these are all intangible item stuff that we control on a night in and night out basis. And I think when we lose some of these things, these are reactionary characteristics. These are things that put us in a situation where we're going to be surprised, in my opinion. And I put these up here not because anybody's told me, but this is stuff that I've done. These are 9 things that I've done in a basketball game that I've caught myself in a game where I'm just like, man, I can't believe that I know better. Okay, so these are my 9 things. Okay, your 9 things may be completely different. But these are things that are reactionary characteristics. Anybody else have anything else for reactionary characteristics? Something that you snuck up that's got you in a game where you're just like, you know what, this happened because I wasn't doing this. Or anybody have it? I get all 9. Am I that good?
I think every game, we have something like that happen. Every game.
Right. I agree. And I also think there's things that we can do on a night-by-night basis that'll allow us to keep us out of those things. Okay? Just like number 1 on the reactionary for me was not sharing. Okay, number 1 in the educated part is sharing all game long. Okay? We'll go over that clip again, and I promise you guys I can find 10 things I didn't share with my partners that probably wouldn't have prevented it, but man, it would have made us look like all stars when it went down. Okay? Knowing your PCA, your rules, and your mechanics. Those are all the things in your tool belt, so to speak, that keep you from being able to keep from being surprised. Being stubborn in your primary coverage area. And when I say being stubborn, it means know your PCA, know your rules, know your mechanics, and know how to implement them in your primary coverage area. Be stubborn. You know what? I'm going to be the best dude on my field. I may be the U2, but I'm going to be the R in my primary, my piece of pie. Right? All right? Having a plan, okay? And that goes into solid pregame. We talked a little about that last week. The more we know how to handle the stuff that goes into the fan, the more solid we look, the more educated we look, the more fluid we look. All right? Not even look, the more we are. Okay? Constant cataloging. We talk about cataloging plays, but do we see a fishy little somebody trying to kick somebody back somebody's foot following a rebound or a dead ball? Did we see something like that in the first quarter? Did I catalog that? Did I see a dead ball? Beep, that's a foul, 23. 23 walk through and just take a half step over to bump 14 white on the way by. Do we catalog that play? Do we share that play? Okay, the block charges, those are the obvious. Those are the elephant in the room catalog plays. But are we cataloging and sharing all the misfits and all the little haka stuff that goes on? Dead ball and things like that. Always going time, personnel, and game situation. And 6 is at the bottom, but golly, man, if we know what's going on and what's happening, what time of the game it is, and what's potentially going to happen based on time, personnel, and game situations, man, our antennas are up and we are much more likely to be solid officials when it happens the most, when it needs to happen the most. Okay, so, that stuff being said, tech skills getting ready to show up again. Maybe. Come on. All right, so, little backdrop. Sorry. do I get rid of that? Anybody, how do I get rid of that? How do I exit PowerPoint? Oh. All right, so we're gonna go over this again. Sorry, guys. All right. Sorry. Okay. Full screen. Freeze. Okay, so background information. 1. Okay, we're gonna watch this play again. We'll let you guys watch this. We're gonna watch this a couple times, and then we're just gonna talk about some of the background information we can get from this play. Okay? Play, boom, great shot. Oh, okay. Good. All right. Oh, hey, what's that? Just a jacket. Let's go over it again. Ready? Watch again. Wait a minute.
There was no call.
Is that fleece? Okay. So, couple things. Background information. This is just the information that I have. Okay? God's honest truth, this is the information I have. 1. Okay? 4th quarter. Tuli's on a run. They were down about 16 in this game. They've got it cut to 4 at this point. 4-point game. 2-possession game. 10, inbounder. Dude's hit about 3 or 4 threes in the game, so he's their shooter. Okay? Guy that just bouncing the ball. Getting ready to chop the clock. 15 years on the sideline. Knows it's a 4-point game. Knows 10's a shooter. No surgery, is probably going to run a quick kick because this is coming out of a timeout.
It should be a set play.
So it's going to be a set play. Okay? They run elevator screens all night long. Elevator and screen, pin down screens all night long. What's an elevator screen? Elevator screen is when that cutter comes through the middle and you have a offensive player there, an offensive player, they close like elevator doors. Okay, pin down screen is the one where they go down into the paint instead of down screen. Okay, we've seen those. We've seen pin downs and elevators all night long. Oh, let me back up, sorry. Guy guarding the inbound at 35. At about a minute 10 in the first quarter, I'm at lead. They run a play similar to this where a guy goes down and sets a long screen, then he goes up, and at 35 goes with his man, and then he gets to his own man and he pushes this guy. Pushes his own man into nobody. He doesn't run into anybody. But I thought to myself, oh, that dumbass, just go stay with his man. He pushes his own guy. None of that information I shared with my partners. None of it. Okay? And none of you guys told me there's a podium behind me.
Yeah.
Okay, so shooter brings the ball in. Hot, right? Okay, know where my knucklehead is that right? I've seen this play before. Pin down screen coming right now. All information that I had, all information that I didn't share. Pow! What? Okay? Now we're reactionary officials. And what's our reaction? Oh, please. That's our reaction. Jackets coming in and out of the stands. All right? So, let's talk about this play a little bit. Let's back up a little bit and talk about what we talked about when we were talking about this stuff down here. We were talking about educated looks. Knowing our PCA, sharing information, rules and mechanics, okay? Whose play is that? Probably. I texted both guys and asked them if we could share this. Whose primary is that? Lead, T, or C's?
Is there 3 man?
It's 3-man, yeah. It's C's. That's C's. That's a C play. Okay? But we missed it. Okay? But back up. I gave you guys all that information I had, and all that stuff happened right in front of me. I gave the ball to the scorer and had no idea where he was going. I chopped the clock and I had a 5 count on nothing. Okay, I looked solid. Okay, so right there, okay, and again, one, sharing, how much information if I had shared, how much better equipped we've been to referee that play? Just on the stupid little push. And then when the jacket comes in, now we're reactionary. So that comes off, and you know what I tell Rob's that lead? Look at Rob, that's a technical, right? First, that's what I said, huh? Okay, better rain gear? No, we were taking it off, but it was fleece, and we were like, no, that's a technical. All right? Rob looked at me, he's like, yeah. So what do? We administer a technical on that because of the thing got thrown on. Go back, we come to find out that we didn't have to. That thing came down. If you look at the thing, the assistant coach reaches over and pulls it up. Did it interrupt the play? Did it stop anything? We could have very easily killed it and handled it differently.
And that's something on my end, when he mentions that, I look at it, I gave him a wide eye because again, it was reactionary. I heard bodies, you hear boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
33 people in the stands screaming and shouting. I was on the baseline, I'm looking at numbers. I didn't see what happened up there. All of a sudden I see a fleece down, it was down.
It was down.
It come down, and when Walt killed it, something that I said afterwards is we should have come together. Before we administered anything, come together and let's talk about it. Not for Thule's sake, not to stick it to Tucumcari, but because all three of us, looking at this play, we did not see any of that. How we missed it, shame on us. And we saw that 5 minutes after the game, 15 minutes after the game was over, we saw this play. And shame on us for allowing that to take place, but then for the reaction that we had after the fact. Again, not for either team, but we as officials mismanaged that situation. And I'll take the blame as all of us as a crew, we all took blame on all of it, but something that I would say is before we start shooting technicals and everything else, let's come together. We can stop a game and we know we're gonna stick the coach or whatever we're gonna do. That might be a little bit different, but something that we need to communicate with and how do we want to manage that situation. That was a shame on us on that end.
Would you stop the game, found out the owner of that coat,
I like where you're going with this.
and had him ejected?
Easily not affected the game right there.
It doesn't matter. We've also got to train the fans that they can't come on the court in any fashion.
In any way interfere with the game.
It caused you to look.
No, I think it's a good point.
If they
Absolutely.
If they threw trash on the thing, you would stop it. But I don't know about giving a technical to one team or the other because I'm not sure who that guy belongs to. So,
Right, well,
and they can't control that behavior from. Well, we think we know it is. We think it's actually a team from white because
yeah.
blue not.
Man, that was bad, right?
But it doesn't matter.
Right. No, I get you. Yeah.
Why make the fan be part of the team? The game? You just say he's got to go, and they can't find the owner, then everybody leaves. If they can't find the owner of the coat, then everybody leaves the stands for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna all point that guy out.
Right, wrong, or different. I think that the way that we handled it as a crew, knowing this, okay, situation, player, and the trends, okay, Julian's on a fourth quarter run, coming out of a timeout, 35 blue, that was his second act, same exact thing. Inbounder and hit multiple threes. Trends, Julian run this thing multiple times. We know this, we don't have to deal with it. We knew this, we communicate it better, we don't handle any of that. And I know that there are gonna be things, like you said, John, man, stuff like that, happens. Yeah, stuff like happens every night, we do. But let's up our percentages of it not happening. Talk it is I think, what I'm trying to get through here. But we could handle that a million different ways.